What's up guys, it is TSJ. Welcome back to another discussion video. This is of course War of Rights gameplay. Be sure to like and subscribe to get updates on all of the War of Rights gameplay videos that I post up. Usually when I do these, I'm usually talking about some topic that pertains to Civil War reenacting, because I do that hobby, not too active anymore in the past 2 years. I haven't really done a lot, but I do want to talk about, pose the question today, just the topic on, is the Civil War reenacting community becoming too toxic? Because I'm a part of a bunch of Civil War groups on Facebook, and I'm not going to lie, this is where most of my information is coming from. I'm not really a part of any like Reddit pages or Instagram pages, anything like that. But I do think that most Civil War reenactors, if they're on social media, are probably on Facebook, either way. So, you know, the reason I'm posing this question to you guys is because I'm one of the people that just kind of grabs popcorn whenever I see an argument breaking out. I don't really ever comment. I think I've maybe commented on like the Civil War buff and Civil War reenactors page maybe once. I noticed that there's just always so much arguing there, and I'm not talking about debate, you know, like the was it over slavery or states' rights? Like that's so common. You don't need to go on a Facebook group to find that. And even at like Civil War reenactments, it's very, for the most part, it's kind of weird. Like it's very, very peaceful at a Civil War reenactment, right? You've got all the units, the divisions and the brigades, whatever they're classified as, kind of just separate to themselves, like Union and Confederate, like within each side. And they're honestly very cordial. Like you would never ever expect that this to be a toxic community. But online, once everybody goes back home on Sunday, then it just becomes like nuts. Seriously, like it does. It's crazy. I guess in more recent events, you've got the whole Gettysburg reenactment being canceled. And then, of course, you had a report come out that someone said that they were going to host it anyway on, I guess, either their land. I honestly didn't read too much into it. But the point is, there were a ton of people who were just very much, like, kind of against it. Pretty, you know, laughing at the whole idea pretty much, with the assumption that, you know, once the GAC cancels their reenactment, then it's kind of it's like a landslide, I guess you would say, for that entire reenactment. Like it's really hard to gain support for reenactment once it's already been canceled once. But I don't know if that's necessarily true, because the Cedar Creek reenactment was canceled a year or two ago, I think, and you know, they're having it again this year, and I think things are gonna probably be okay. I think they're gonna have another 1,000 or 2 reenactors, which is they usually have a couple thousand every year. So I guess we'll just see. But the thing with GAC too is it wasn't just people making those assumptions. It was also people really just kind of hating on it, saying like, yeah, well, duh, it makes sense. It's so expensive. The spectators, and they were also calling it like a Farb fest. For anyone who's watching, Farb is just somebody who's pretty much like inaccurate towards the history that they are representing or trying to present to the public. So, for example, a Farb was someone who's like just doesn't look that accurate, you know, as a person who really was in the event was, right? And so the GAC, a lot of people were like, well, who cares really? I mean, it's not a big deal, because on a lot of these pages, especially the Civil War buff, I've noticed, and the Civil War reenactors, there are a lot of very passionate reenactors on that page, and I do think that they take up the majority. Like, for example, if you do watch, my last video was mainstream versus authentic reenactors. Now, I'm not saying like mainstream isn't authentic, but just because you wear blue doesn't mean, you know, oh, I'm for the Union. There does have to be a level of authenticity. You guys know what I'm saying. Authenticity there, for it to kind of build up the ambiance of it, the environment of a Civil War reenactment, of living history. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, though, you know, because sure, the Gettysburg reenactment might not have been like the most, you know, you guys remember during the 150th, like 5 years ago, there was a GAC, and then there was the Blue and Gray Association. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. And, you know, so there was a really authentic reenactment, and then there was the more mainstream version. If it were me, it would be really great if we all just could come together and have one massive one, just so that because I'm all about like large events, and of course those are simply slowly slimming down. There's just not many of them as there were in, say, the 90s and whatnot. It's just how it is. Nowadays is much smaller events. But in a sense, people kind of like that, though, because the smaller events allow for, I guess just a focused look at what it was like, rather than the whole huge thousands of reenactors there. It's really hard to give a really accurate look unless you're just standing on a hilltop at a distance. Whereas if you have a smaller event, especially for the public, you can just go in and see all of the reenactors being authentic, at once, right? And hopefully they have a pretty accurate setup. But, on these social media forums, guys, I mean, it seems like every other post is just people bashing each other, and I don't want to put anything up here, give specific examples. I'd have to, of course, block out names and whatnot. I don't want to do that, but take it from me. If you're watching this video, you're probably on those pages. You probably see exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm just wondering if it's becoming really just too much of a toxic community, because the problem is, people who are in the hobby already, they can kind of handle it to a point. If you've been in it for 20 or 30 years, you've seen the ripples that have gone through Civil War reenacting. If you're like me and have done it for like 7 or 8 years, then again, you're kind of I've also seen some stuff, but I'm noticing it even more now that I've been in it for enough time. But if you're brand new or wanting to get in it, it's kind of a turnoff for it. And I don't necessarily mean, guys, when I say toxic, I mean like pure arguing for the sake of arguing, or just kind of being a jerk, like I totally get it, and will not bash anyone for trying to suggest to someone else that they should maybe improve their kit or their uniform, their presentation, based on maybe get this quality coat or jacket or these brogans, you know what I mean? Like that's fine, because you're trying to, in a sense, better someone. But if you say this is garbage, you'd have a better chance sitting in front of your computer looking at a movie than actually that doesn't really help. And that's honestly the kind of stuff that you see on these pages. It's really, I'm not making this up, it's insane. And so the problem comes down to, this is, what I'm about to say, this is what it always comes down to. Is the hobby dying? That is literally the question or the statement that everybody makes, and it's either, yeah, it is, or it's of course it's not. This is just how the hobby, what happens, it has increases and decreases, influxes of reenactors, and then there's its years and several years when it goes down a little bit. And I think right now it might be facing a downward trend with the number of reenactors and reenactments. There's really no denying that, because you do hear a lot about how reenactments are being canceled and whatnot. I mean, you just do. And of course, I'm in Maryland, so I'm kind of prime. I hear about a lot of reenactments that happen around, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and whatnot, and of course even farther south. So I don't know. I just wanted to pose the question to you guys, especially if you are a reenactor. What are your thoughts on it? Is the Civil War reenactment community, is it becoming more toxic? Is it not? Is it just how it is? People need to not be offended as much. I don't know. I don't really have... That's my point. I don't want to put too much of my 2 cents into it. But I'm just simply laying out to you guys what I see on these social media forums, because it's just nuts. It's funny in this, like I said at the beginning, I don't post anything, I kind of just get my popcorn, but at the same time, it's kind of sad, because you want people to get excited and energetic, and I think for some people that means, okay, well, they need to have a good kit, a good uniform, or they're not going to like it. And there's some truth to that, but I feel like first you have to reel people in, because I know people who do the reenactments, and pretty much everybody admits this, they start off with really crappy gear, and then they build up over time. But if they see all this arguing and the toxicity among comments and from people, it might just be kind of a turnoff to them. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. That's all I have, guys. Just again, let me know what you think. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Remember to stay super, and I will see you guys next time.